Hi, in this video we'll be continuing with C# video tutorials. So we'll be continuing with reading values from a file and storing them in an array. So it's a lab, so we'll just start with that. So I'm just going to continue where we left off last time. So this app, we created this in the last video, so you can check the playlist if you're interested in that. So this time we'll have another we're gonna need another button, I guess. So here we'll have get value. Actually, sorry, we're gonna need to instantiate an object reference variable here first. So we'll say private button get value button. So get value button. Then here we could have so we'll say get value button. So get value button points to new button. Get value button dot name points to get value button camel cased. Then here we'll say get value button dot click. So another click event plus equals new event handler. And here we'll pass in get value button underscore click. So right now it's not recognizing the method. It's like, where is this method? So that's always going to happen unless you have a method first. When that happens, it's going to be confused about the event. I guess that's just the way it is until you fix it. If we were to do this, then this click, I think you could try doing it backwards and see if you get red lights here, or like red text. Red text means an error in most, not every case, but this theme, it'll mean if there's a red underline, then there's going to be an error. So we can just do that here. Actually, we could probably do it underneath. So here we'll say, so underneath that event handler here we'll have private void, what do we call it, sorry, get value button dot click plus equals new event handler, passing it the parameter get value button underscore click. So here we'll say private void get value button underscore click. Here we'll pass an object sender and event args e. Okay, so then now we'll say, we'll open a try block here. So we'll have a constant int points to 5. We'll just have a 5, like a value here. And we'll instantiate a local array, so we'll say int array. We can just call this, we'll just call it numbers. So int array numbers, we have two numbers when we had run local array numbers up here. But it's not going to get confused because this is local to OK button underscore click, and this array is local to get values button underscore click. So they're different event handlers. The compiler won't get confused because it knows they're different. So here we'll have int array numbers points to new int. We'll pass in here size as a parameter. So it'll instantiate, whoops, sorry, I forgot the name. Constant int size points to 5. So now here we're saying int array numbers points to new int passing in size as the size, so it's going to instantiate an array of 5 elements indexed to 0 to n minus 1 or 0 to 4. So then here we'll have int index points to 0. We'll just have a counter variable to use in the loop. So you can do this. You can do it this way, or you can instantiate the counter variable in the loop. So this is just a variation. So this time we'll create a local stream reader object instead of a stream writer that we used last time. So stream reader reads input from a file. So it basically opens a file stream, an input file stream from a file. So we'll call it, it's called stream reader. So stream reader here will pass, we'll call it input file. We'll create an object reference variable there. And here we'll say input file points to file.openText. And here we'll just pass in the file path. So here we'll say @ C colon / users / the computer name / the file. I think we called it datafile.txt. And we'll close the string semicolon, and then here we'll have a while loop. So here we'll say while index is less than numbers dot length. We'll access the length property. So while index, which means while index is less than 5. Because remember the array length of numbers is 5. So while index is less than numbers dot length and not input file. So input file is not the end of stream. So remember, end of stream means that when the data when there's no more data in the file. So while input file is not the end of the stream, which means that there's still data in the file. Something's wrong with that. I spelled it wrong. Okay, so end of stream here. And we'll open a block underneath that. Then we'll say numbers of array index points to int.parse. Then we'll pass. So we'll just talk about that in a sec. So int.parse, passing in input file dot read line. It's a little bit tricky because write line up here. Actually, no, sorry, they're both methods and not properties. Okay, so what's happening here? So we're saying numbers of array index. So now the numbers array. So this numbers array is empty right now. It's just filled with zeros because 0 is the default value. So in this case, while this index, which points to 0 on the first iteration, is less than numbers.length, which is 5, and the file isn't the end of the stream, which means there's still data in the file, then we'll enter the block, the loop. Then here it'll say it'll access numbers of array index. So index, I think we're gonna have to increment this too. So here we'll say index plus plus, which means index plus 1. Because it's a while loop, so you have to do the increment below your line of code. So here we're saying the numbers array of array index, which is 0 on the first iteration, is going to point to. So int.parse, what does int.parse do? So it passes the string as an int, which is a number, a whole number. So what's the string? So the string is input file.readline. So it returns this as a string, as I mentioned before. That's why we had to use input. That's why we're having to use the parse method, because we're passing it back as a number. remember here I said that this was writing the number to the file, and I tried to use a 2-string at first. Both ways worked. I probably would have went for the 2-string anyways. But I think in other languages, for example, it only takes strings in a text file, like the write line, like file write methods. But in this case, C# didn't care whether you're writing a number to a file or not. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And now we'll close the file stream at the end. So we'll say input file.close. And below that we'll, so we can display, we can have a list box here. So we could just, I don't think we added the, so let's just pretend we have a list box here, so I can go up to the fields. I can say here private list box, name it list box, create an object reference variable here, and underneath here we could set, in the constructor we can say listbox name. First we have to instantiate the object. So we'll say listbox points to new listbox, and underneath we'll say listbox.name points to the string listbox, just to assert the identifier. That's pretty much it. We could add it. We also have to add the button. So we have get value button points to new button, get value button.name. Sorry, actually it's just the, yeah, it is the right button. Okay. Then we have the click, and we'll add the location. I don't think it's going to be in a perfect spot. We'll just try to add it. So here we'll say get value button dot location points to new point, and then we'll add, for example, an XY point. So we'll say, for example, like 125 by 125. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for the list box. Actually, you know what? We can maybe just drag, because to set this up, it might take a while to make it look all perfect. We could just drag a list box on, and then just access it in the code. So we have this here. Well, actually, I'm not sure where the button's going to be. Let's just try to add it first. So we'll just go through the code. So we'll just go with listbox.name. We'll go with listbox.location points a new point. Here, for example, we could just put it underneath the buttons. So go 300 by 300. So then here, don't forget to add this here. So we'll go controls.add get value button. And down here in the list box, we'll say listbox.add. Oops, sorry, not listbox.add. We'll say controls.add, and then pass in listbox. So we have the so now back down in the event handler for get value button underscore click. Here we're closing the file stream. So we'll just bring the try block back up. So underneath there. Actually, sorry, still within the try block, underneath input file.close. And we'll say for each. We'll say int value in numbers. We'll access the array numbers. So then we'll say listbox.items.add. We'll pass in value, so it'll add all the. It's going to add all the array elements to this list box. And at the bottom we'll say catch. Below the try block, we'll say catch exception. and here we'll say message box.show, and then we'll just pass in exception.message. And that's it. That's pretty much the example. So all that's going to happen is that the file that we wrote to last time, the same array values are going to be passed in back to a new array. It's going to display that in like a window, and it's going to show a list box with the values, and it'll have the two buttons. So let me just run that to make sure that it works. Might not have a proper layout, but because that's going to take too long, we'll just kind of quickly do it. Okay, so one of the buttons worked. Okay, so not sure. Let me just check the name of the file. Datafile.txt. Oh, sorry, I forgot one folder here. So we'll just add desktop to that, and then // it caught the exception and wrote that in a message box. If you ran that code, I know I didn't show it because I'm just using the screen, like not a screen recorder, just an app recorder. But if you notice that the exception told us that it couldn't find the file and I didn't have the proper folder. So it told us that the file could not be found, like the proper file could not be found, pretty much because this folder wasn't added here. So let me just save that and add it, run it again. Okay, so I click the button, and then the list box was filled with the array elements, and that's pretty much it. So that works. So thanks for watching, guys. In the next video, we'll be going over, what are we going over? Passing arrays as arguments to methods. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. In the next video, we'll be going over passing arrays as arguments to methods. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Take care.